hope you guys are enjoying these videos so far. I know we've only made a few of them, but I'm trying to cover as many topics as possible. So if you guys have any topics you'd like for me to discuss, just make sure to put it in the comments down below, and we'll make sure to cover that in a future video. So for this week, we are going to be going over something that I've been kind of seeing a lot lately, and that is a big question of why should I be using a real estate agent in the first place? There's a lot of people that think that you shouldn't be using an agent, or that it's okay to not be using an agent. There's a lot of things that it's fine to do on your own, but I would say being involved in a real estate transaction, is a little more complicated than your day-to-day things you're going to be involved in. So I think it's good to have a professional on your side when you're doing something like that. Whether you're selling a house or buying a house, it's definitely good to have someone on your side for that. So we'll just kind of jump into it here. We'll look at both sides and see why it'd be a good idea for each one. The selling side of things, I think it's especially important to have a real estate professional. You are open to potentially a lot of different kinds of liability, and you also have a lot of different hangups that you're not going to have if you do have an agent with you. So when you are selling a home, first of all, you are not going to be getting as much exposure if you're trying to do it on your own. So typically, you might put it on Craigslist, you might put it on Zillow, for sale by owner, for salebyowner.com, or you might be putting it on Facebook, which all of these different social media outlets, platforms will definitely they'll give you a lot of exposure, but you're not going to get as much exposure as you would with an agent, because with an agent, you're going to have access to something called the MLS, and that stands for multiple listing service. So when you decide to sell your home with an agent or list with an agent, they're going to upload your house and all the relevant information to the MLS, and that is going to put out that information to all the realtors out there pretty much. So all these other professionals are going to see that, and they are going to be more inclined to bring their buyers forward, to come view the house and potentially be putting offers in on it. So that's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest chunk of the buyers you're going to be getting and exposure you're going to have is through the MLS. When they list it to the MLS, you're typically paying people. A lot of people think that you're paying buyers or that commission just to the listing agent, but that listing agent is actually giving away typically around 40% of that, 40 to 50% of that away to a buyer's agent as well. So they're actually offering incentive for the buyer's agent to come forward and bring a buyer with them to the table for the transaction. So by cutting that out, you're taking a huge chunk of the potential buyers that might be wanting to purchase your home. So you definitely don't want to do that. It's also you can very well list on your own and still offer up that buyer commission, which is typically 2 to 2.4%. Of the overall sale price, but you don't, you're usually, a lot of people, and I look at for sale by owner listings all the time, and I will typically see them not posting anything about that. And for the most part, most realtors aren't going to be looking at those listings when they're looking at listings for their buyers. So when they're looking at houses to go tour and to go potentially be putting offers on, they're not really looking at the for sale by owner ones as much. So that's going to be a huge point right there, is that you don't want to miss out on the MLS listing. And pretty much overall, the larger exposure you're going to be getting from that. The second reason why selling without a realtor is a terrible idea is you are potentially opening yourself up to a ton of liability. So when you're selling a house, there's documents that disclosure documents that you have to be giving to each prospective buyer. And most people don't know that. So you're going to be wanting to give what's called a real estate condition report if you've lived in the house. And that just outlines everything that you know or aware of that might be wrong with the house. You have to answer that honestly. That's completely legal. That's not just something a realtor is going to make you fill out. You should have that for every prospective buyer so that they can know exactly what you are aware of in your own home. The second thing is, if your house, and I'm not sure how other states do this, but in Wisconsin, if a house is built before 1978, then you have to have what's called a lead-based paint disclosure. It'll also be called an addendum S. So you want to be handing that out. You want to have signed that and be handing that out to any potential buyer as well. That just basically says that you are aware that there is the potential for lead-based paint in your house. It doesn't say there is lead-based paint, but it just says because my house was built pre-1978 that there is the potential for lead-based paint to be in my home. So those are two things that you're going to want to be handing out to buyers, and you're not going to really know about those things as much. I mean, again, you could do it on your own, but having a realtor that knows the ins and outs of those documents is just going to be better off. You don't want to open yourself up to that kind of liability. You could get in a lot of trouble for selling it to selling to somebody and then not having disclosed that you were aware of a potential problem. So having that liability be kind of guided by a realtor or professional, someone who knows what they're doing and have been doing it for a while, that's going to be something you're going to want to have. You just why put yourself up to that? Why get yourself in trouble when you don't need to? um, the last reason that you would want to sell with a professional as opposed to trying to do it on your own is it really just is that the realtor is a professional. So there's someone who has been doing this for a very long time. There's someone that knows exactly what they're doing. They're going to know how to properly price the home. They have more accurate resources needed to create comparative market analysis of the home, which is looking at similar properties in the area to determine the price. They're going to know all of that stuff, and they're going to be able to come up with a little bit more accurate numbers for that. And it's just better off to have somebody who knows what they're doing and who is still looking out for you, because a lot of people tend to forget that when they fill out that listing contract, they're actually becoming a client of that realtor. And what that really means is that the realtor owes them, or that whether it's a realtor or agent, that they owe them duties as a client. They have to keep everything confidential. They have to put your interests as a client ahead of their own. So I mean, you're really having someone that's knowledgeable and somebody that knows exactly what they're doing, and you're making it so they are completely responsible for you pretty much. So you have them on your side, and you have somebody who's looking out for you, who knows what they're doing. So you want someone like that when you're doing a complicated thing like this. You're going to want somebody that knows exactly what they're doing, that knows how to handle all the paperwork. And besides, having to schedule all those appointments and showings on your own can definitely be really stressful too. So having that professional to do all that for you and looking out for you is, in my opinion, always worth the commission that you're offering up. Now, if we take a look at the other side of things, if you're trying to go buy a home, there's things to look out for with that as well. So you're going to want, there's reasons that you would want an agent helping you with that as well. So I would say the first thing with that is going to be just having someone to look at the homes for you. Um, Typically, regardless of whether you're working with an agent or a buyer's agent, or you're just going straight to the listing agent who's selling the home, you're still going to have to work with an agent, because if you don't work with a buyer's agent, that listing agent is going to be the one that drafts all of your offer paperwork up for you. So you're still working with an agent, and really there's no downside to working with a buyer's agent, because for the most part the seller is the one. I don't know if you know how like it works with the commission, but the seller is the one who pays the commission to the listing agent or the listing firm, who then pays it to the buyer's firm, and then they pay their respective agents through that after they take their portion out. So by working with a buyer's agent, you're not paying them anything. You're essentially getting their services for free. So why not have a representative on your side who's looking out for you, who knows the paperwork, who knows exactly what they're doing, and who schedules everything for you? I mean, why not be working with that person? I mean, it's just smart to use a buyer's agent. Again, there's a lot of different things, a lot of different paperwork that you're going to have to know, and you're going to have to at some point rely on either an agent or possibly an attorney if you wanted to do it on your own. But who wants to pay for an attorney? So I think it's just better off using a buyer's agent. You have someone who knows all the paperwork for the offer. Drafting offer paperwork can be excruciating, trust me, sometimes. So when trying to do that on your own would just be a hassle. Yeah, I mean, there's just you got someone who knows the neighborhood, or potentially knows the neighborhood a little bit better than you. they've been probably working in the area for a little while, at least seeing houses in the area. So they know what the housing market's going to be like. They know what the actual neighborhood location is like. So, and also here's another thing to think about when you're using a buyer's agent. They're also going to know exactly what to look for in a home. They may not be inspectors or have all the technical knowledge needed, but they're going to, they're going to know what a bad foundation looks like. They're going to know simple things like, oh, is this plumbing under the sink correct? Or am I going to have to switch that out? Is the roof completely trashed or is it fixable? Just little things like that. And also, if you're using different kinds of loans, so if you're using what's called an FHA loan, it's a loan under the Federal Housing Administration. Basically, what that is just someone. It's a government-backed loan or insured loan that if you're trying to get a loan and maybe you have a poor credit score, you can't put as much of a down payment down. You'll go through that and you'll get an FHA loan through your lender. And FHA is a little more stringent on what they lend on. So you might have them they might decide to not lend if, you have chipping paint on the exterior of the house or if you don't have handrails in the home. So it's always better to have an agent who knows that stuff ahead of time. So let's say you do have an FHA loan and you're trying to go buy a house, you can, you have someone that knows exactly what to look for. So you can just cross it off right away. Oh, this house has chipping panes. I can't buy it because I'm trying to get an FHA loan. It'd be way less stressful than going through the process of putting an offer in and then getting all the way to the FHA appraisal and finding out, oh, I'm sorry, I can't get this house anymore. So it's always better to just have that agent, who knows exactly what they're doing, because they're gonna know a little bit more probably about the lending process as well. So having someone that knows and can work with your lender a little more smoothly than you can is a huge plus, because sometimes it all comes down to how quickly the lender moves. So if you have an agent that is has a personal relationship with that lender, it's a little better than you just trying to talk to the lender on your own. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons you're going to want a real estate professional or an agent instead of trying to do anything on your own. Trying to sell a house is, again, I always talk about this, but trying to sell a house is incredibly, or buy a house, either one can be incredibly complicated. So you want a professional that is going to help you out and knows what they're doing and can help save you from some of that liability you might put on yourself, that you might not even know about when you're just trying to do it all. So yeah, you definitely want an agent. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any other topics you want for me to discuss in the future, please put it in the comments below, and then we will, try to cover that in a future video. And always, if you guys like this content and you want to keep following along, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks, and have a great night.